All right.
I think that was a great video. Neil Cavoto did a nice job.
Go ahead, talk about it, Wally, because that's a video you've been wanting and...
Well, he talked about a lot of Obama's lies. You know, I don't like to use the word lies when you're talking about the President of the United States, but I don't know what else to say, because this guy is obvious a very, very big liar, and he lied to the American people to get elected. He lied to the American people about Obamacare, and he's still lying. The only reason we know he's lying is because he's opened up his mouth, and then you can tell he's lying. But it's too bad he would never got elected if people knew that Obamacare was going to be as bad as it is. And we haven't heard of the nightmares that are to come. It's going to be a lot worse. This Obamacare is going to be a lot worse.
Think about all the scandals, even the unemployment rates where they lied, the Census Bureau lied.
Yeah.
Just to say, so that he could, on the campaign, he could say, oh, well, the rates dropped down to under 8 or whatever it was. It's amazing. And by the way, you guys can hear, the viewers can hear, but we can't hear that good in here, the video or the calls.
Yep.
But they had new carpet installed here, and so the wires must have got disrupted, and so here we go again with something odd happening, but it's...
But President Obama, when these incidents happened, when the IRS was going after conservative groups or anybody that had patriotic names to them and all that stuff, he says that's disgusting, the IRS is wrong, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. Now all of a sudden he's calling it a scandal. It's not a scandal. He's saying that didn't really happen. The same with Benghazi, with the New York Times, and we're going to see that video later, so I won't get into the New York Times.
Very soon, actually.
But what about the arms, selling the guns to the Mexican drug lords? You know, that's Eric Holder, your buddy there.
Yeah, Fast and Furious.
And he lied in testimony to Congress, and they didn't do nothing to him.
Next week, you're going to enjoy the Wheel of Freedom opener. We have a new opener for the show, and
okay, I'm looking.
I shouldn't even say it, but Eric Holder is in the opener. Just a brief. I don't know. You don't know. You don't know nothing.
And Obama don't know anything either.
They don't know anything, but yet they're behind everything,
and they tell the people what to do. They tell them what to do, but don't let me know what you did. I don't want to hear it. You know what I want, you do it, but I don't want to hear anything from you. And that's what he's been doing right along. Don't tell me the President of the United States didn't know that the IRS was going after people to change their tax status, wouldn't give them the proper tax status, so they could have enough money coming in, donated.
Of course they knew that.
Plus they also went after Romney's people. They found out who was supporting Romney when he ran for president, and then they went after those people. They investigated them. They made them fill out income tax returns and everything else. So this president is really, really upsetting me. And I have never supported him, but I've never hated him. But I'm getting to the point where I can't stand him at all. And he's hurting this country big time.
Wally, you've been warning about this when he first came on.
It's been 5 years, maybe more than 5 years. I remember seeing him sit in a desk when he just became a senator. And he says, I have not enough experience to run for the presidency, so I'm going to be a senator, I'm going to be a good senator. 2 years later, he's running. After 2 years in office, he ran for president. Imagine that.
What does he benefit by destroying our country? What do these people, other than financial, obviously, all of them, all the politicians, financially they benefit. They all leave multi-millionaires and don't care. But if they destroy our country to a point where $1 million is equivalent to $10,000, it doesn't matter how much money they got. They're still going to be in a world of hurt, too.
Well, Obama said it before he was president. I want to share the wealth. And that's what he's doing.
He is not, because next week I'm going to show you a video on these blacks in Chicago. They're pissed off at him. Yeah. Al Sharpton had a thing. And we had too much to try to show tonight, but
But he is taking the wealth away from people. And it's not just the rich people, because the rich people are this many people. The middle class is this many. So he's going to start taking away from the middle class. And there's taxes coming out. You're going to see in 2014 how many new taxes there are going to be on Obamacare. There's going to be plenty. And he's going to change the laws around. He's going around the Constitution. He's breaking the rules of the Constitution every single day, just about. And that is wrong. That is wrong.
I tell you, we have to just hope and pray and tell everybody that you possibly know to vote. And to vote all these jackasses out of office, all of them.
Yeah.
Vote them all out. We have, we're running out of time, I think.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, a couple more elections, we're toast.
Well,
The way they've changed this whole country, it's amazing.
I said this before and I'll say it again. Obama's goal, and he's going to be campaigning all next year, and he's not campaigning for his presidency. He's campaigning to win the Senate and the House. That way, the Democrats won't be able to slow him down at all. Plus, if that doesn't work and he doesn't control them, he's got other plans how to get around Congress. He's going to use agencies like the IRS. He already announced he's going to use the IRS to do what they were doing before illegally, and he's going to tell them to do it again. Mark my words. Mark my words.
Yeah, Obama, I predict, is going to try to mark everybody in this country with microchips, with the mark of the beast. That's how evil these people are. They already are microchipping, getting ready to push it this coming year in California, the RFID chips in all children, all school children. It's all part of Common Core. This is sickening and sickening. And what they want from us is to riot in the streets. We've had enough. Then they initiate martial law. Then we never get rid of the jerk. Yeah. Never,
Well, he hates America because of slavery. America did not bring slavery to this country. Slavery was brought here by the English, the French, and the Spanish. Once we became a nation, I'm talking about 5 or 6 years, they stopped allowing slaves to come to this country. They didn't do away with slavery, but they stopped new slaves from coming to this country. What they also did was they had a civil war to stop slavery, and that was like 60 years after we were a nation. After we were a nation, 60 years, and they stopped that slavery in this country.
Why are we living in the past? That far, way back. Why? Why aren't the Jews angry at the Germans because of what Hitler did? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all it is an excuse, and you've heard a couple of these other black leaders speak out, and you will hear it next week in Chicago how they accuse them of this stuff, using slavery, using whitey as the excuse. It has nothing to do with it. What the politicians are doing to Chicago, every other house is boarded up and everything else. Yeah. You should hear what these people said to Al Sharpton. He thought he was going to rebel rouse them and race bait them into all this stuff. They're too smart for Al Sharpton. There was some decent. Probably most of them are decent. They want to live a decent life. They're just being used. Everything they were promised, they got nothing out there in Chicago.
Well, a lot of prejudice still exists in this country. And I'm looking at the black conservatives in this country who are experiencing racism. You have other black people, black Americans, who are harassing conservative Republicans, black Republicans. And they're doing a good job, and they see what's happening to this country, and they're very upset. Now, they're starting to get some play all over the country, so they're getting more exposure. Fox News has a couple good black people, black Americans on it, who are part of their news staff.
Well, we showed that video a couple weeks back. Remember the black conservatives?
Yep, yep.
And the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of great black people in this country.
Oh, it's wonderful. They're wonderful people.
It's just because we got a few jerks in the leadership that are creating all this trouble. For the most part, white and black people live side by side, never have an issue.
I know. I lived with them.
You never had an issue.
No.
You know, if anything, they're great people.
Just like me. Yeah. I was just like them.
It doesn't matter.
I grew up in the housing projects. I know.
Yeah, I know what it's about.
I never had any trouble. Never had any trouble.
So let's run this second video on Benghazi, and whereas New York Times is insisting it's this video again. This is so asinine. I can't believe we're even hearing this. But Reg, can we run the
person or persons who made the decision to sacrifice my son's life to stand up?
The families of Tyrone Woods, Glenn Doherty, Christopher Stevens, and Sean Smith all deserve to know that. We all do.
More lies, Wally.
More lies, right?
More lies, right? We know the whole deal with Benghazi. We know that all the cover-ups, we know all those people disappeared, those 20-something witnesses. They still don't know where they ever went, correct?
Well, a lot of them were in the hospital.
With different names and everything else.
And Hillary said she didn't know how many people were injured or anything. She didn't know anything.
So this cover-up is an attempt to cover it up more because Hillary wants to run for president. And so they have to think that the people are that stupid.
Well, what they're doing to the people that we don't know about is they're taking lie detector tests every single month by the Obama administration to find out if they've given any evidence out to the news media. That's what they're doing to them.
They should reverse that and make Eric Holder and Barack Obama take lie detector tests. You know? They should.
Yeah.
Eric Holder's the most crookedest guy I've ever seen for the highest position of law enforcement. And as a matter of fact, right before I moved back to Connecticut, when I was in New Hampshire, February 2009, why don't you guys do a little research? Who was the Attorney General then? This is when the transition was taking place. January 2009. There was one guy in there, he was a temporary Attorney General. During that period, I wasn't getting hardly any shocks to my body. And I thought that's because I was leaving that hellhole in New Hampshire and I was coming to Connecticut. And then several months later, I found that Eric Holder took office, I think February 2009, somewhere around then. And the guy before him, I think, was it Tom Ridge? Well, no, who was the...
Ridge was the guy from Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, he was Homeland Security, I think.
Yeah,
but,
I don't think it was.
But the Attorney General before, in the Bush administration, ended at January. So there was like a 1 month period where there was a temporary guy, and the guy's name was Mark Phillips.
Okay.
Mark Phillips.
But I know Holder was assistant Justice Department leader. He was number 2 man in the Justice Department under Clinton. So he had some experience there. So then when Obama got president, he just moved him right into the slot. You know?
Well, I can tell you what, everybody will be before God, whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, everyone will stand in front of God. And boy, Wally, would I love to be in place seeing when these people, these Obamas, these Eric Holders, these Hillary Clintons, Bill Clintons, when these people, all the people they murdered, all the people the Clintons murdered. Yeah. Remember that? When Bill Clinton was president, there was a video called Clinton Chronicles. Hundreds of people in their network
died mysteriously.
Died. And after the video, there was like 100 more.
Is that right?
Yes, it was amazing. Ron Brown was one of them. Remember him?
Crashed.
Yeah. It went on and on and on. And you'd be surprised how evil politics are.